I'll officially call to order the special meeting of the Coachella Valley Water District Board of Directors, April 21, 2026, here in Palm Desert. And would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Good afternoon, President Powell,
Here.
Vice President Estrada,
Here.
Director Bianco,
Here.
and Director Aguilar.
Here.
Thank you. Do you have a quorum?
We have the entire board here. Isn't that sad? There's only 4 of us. Okay, which is the reason we're here. This is the time set aside for public comment. Is anybody from the public wishing to make comment at this time? Hearing none. We have one action item, which is discussion and action regarding filling the Division 4 seat on our board, which became vacant on April 14th. And I imagine somebody's doing a presentation on this.
Yes, President Powell, Jeff Foray and myself will kind of tag team on this item a little bit. I'll start with just the kind of brief overview, and then if we get into technical or legal questions, Jeff can step in and answer that or verify the information. So we are here today to discuss the vacancy appointment process for the Division 4 seat. The procedure for appointing a member to a district board following a vacancy is governed by established timelines and regulations. The appointment process adheres to specific government and election codes in accordance with Government Code Section 1780B. The date of vacancy refers to the later of either the date the board receives notification or the effective date of the vacancy. The district is required to notify the Riverside County Registrar of Voters within 15 days of the date of vacancy, and this task is managed by the clerk of the board. Additionally, under Government Code Section 1780C, the remaining board members have 60 days from the date of the vacancy, which is April 15th, to fill the position by either an appointment or to call for an election. Should the deadline coincide with the weekend, which in this case it does, the 60 days does fall on Saturday, June 13th, it is recommended that the board make a decision no later than Friday, June 12th to ensure that. The current board meeting aims to determine whether the vacancy will be filled through an appointment or by holding an election. If an appointment is chosen, staff requests authorization to post a notice of vacancy for 15 days. The notice must be visibly posted in at least 3 locations within the district. Let's see. Alternatively, the board may call for an election within 60 days of the date of vacancy. However, staff is, in this case, discouraging conducting an election and instead going for an appointment. And I'll kind of stop there to ask if there's any questions, or we can kind of keep going on the timeline. Okay, so the next thing is, should the district not resolve the vacancy within 60 days, the Riverside County Board of Supervisors has 90 days to either appoint a member to fill the vacancy or to order the district to hold a special election. If neither is taken within the 90 days, then the district board is ordered to call for an election to fill the vacancy. The Division 4 seat is in the initial half of the current term, as the vacancy occurred between the first half and more than 130 days before the next general district election, which is currently scheduled for November 3rd, 2026. Therefore, the appointed individual will serve until the next general district election, at which time the individual or the candidate that is considered the winner of that election would continue on for the remainder of the 2-year term.
Right.
Okay.
So they essentially would run and then run again in 2 years after that.
Correct. If the individual was appointed, they would have to seek to be on the ballot for November, so they would get appointed in, let's say, May, June, and then in July would have to pull papers and be on the November ballot along with seats 1, 3, and 5.
Right, and it would be a short seat.
It would be 2 year.
A 2-year seat instead of
the
4.
remainder
Yeah, okay.
2-year term.
Great.
Okay. Yeah.
We do have copies of you. You have copies, and we can also bring it up on the screen. We have copies of the Division 4 area, and then the whole CVWD divisions.
So assuming we let's say we make a decision today to appoint, when would that letter, how would that letter be? There's a letter, right? I think it was.
So
part
there's a
of
notice that that my office would take care of notifying the registrar of voters, and it's just a notice that there is a vacancy and that the district board is taking the action to fill the vacancy by an appointment. I would then notice a 15-day notice in the public to allow members of the public to know that we have this vacancy and the process for which to submit a letter of interest or a resume. We would need to identify a date in which the board would like to schedule interviews to interview any of the candidates. And then from there, the board at that meeting, and this is the part, Jeff, you can correct, I believe at that meeting in which candidates are interviewed, the board could elect to make an appointment. At that time, the individual could be sworn in, and they are officially a member of the board at that time.
And that's recommended in order to have the deliberation done by the board in this meeting, have that decision made, and then have that person take the dais, as opposed to any lag time where people might
Right.
want to campaign or talk to
Yeah,
people.
well, okay, so this is all discussion prior to taking any action. We haven't
Correct.
taken any action yet, but I'm just looking at a calendar. So there's so you send out a public notice, you notify the registrar and the public, and then you have 15 days,
Correct. If
Have to
we,
wait.
and then, sorry,
You have to wait 15 days
Wait.
before
before
you
you have a meeting where candidates would be
Oh, list of candidates, right?
available for, and then we'd have to make a decision. I just know how tight some of these schedules are, and especially with a couple people being gone in June.
so if the board were to approve this today and direct us to proceed with an appointment, I would send notice to the registrar of voters tomorrow. I do have until the 29th, but I would send the notice tomorrow. I would also post the notice of vacancy. The 15 days then would put us at May 6th. So anytime after May 6th, the board could interview candidates. We would likely schedule a special meeting if that's the desire of the board, or try and squeeze it into one of the other regular meetings. But I think looking at upcoming meetings, the next available board meeting that we would have the full board, I believe, would be the May 27th meeting.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to
We-
wait that long.
But we do have a couple of hearings already scheduled on that date. I'm looking at Carla because I believe the Prop 218 rate, so that probably would not be ideal to go through that at that time. So I would recommend that we schedule a special meeting sometime after May 6th and before May 27th.
So how long does that give, assuming we move forward with the appointment, potential applicants to submit a letter or resume before we would set up interviews?
So I would notice it tomorrow, effective tomorrow, and then 15 days would go till May 6th. So it would give individuals those 15 days to submit a resume. You could go longer if you wanted to. The 15 days is the minimum. So if the board wanted to say, no, we'd like to have that open for 30 days, we could absolutely do that.
Right, so commonly you would have the date that the notice expires, or with enough time, 3 or 4 days for there be a deadline for the board to then get all the applicants.
I would
applications.
suggest that it's up until the time that you need Sylvia to compile those applications and share them with the board. And I don't know if you would post those on the agenda during the special meeting, but I would say that let that be the cutoff time, and it extends the deadline, but also which I think is good. You don't keep it to the 15 days, but I don't know if that just gives us like 5 extra days or.
Yeah,
But that's what I would suggest we do that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Just looking at calendars.
So you can work back from the day you want to have the meeting and then set
Yeah.
it.
I mean, the meeting, I think May 7th would be too early. And
So how about the week of the 11th or the week of the 18th?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The 11th, unfortunately, in Washington, D.C. I'm here on the 15th and all of the week of the 18th. So the week of the 18th for me is wide
The
open.
19th and the 20th, I'll be in Sacramento.
Okay, so how about the 18th?
Yeah, the 18th.
The 18th would be good. or
Is
the
that a Monday?
21st.
I'm good for that.
It's
yeah.
a Monday.
Yes.
Monday, that works for me.
Monday the 18th.
At 11.
At what time?
At 11.
At 11. Okay.
I don't know. Is there a timing problem? You want to go earlier?
I want to go earlier or later.
Let's see. I'm looking at my calendar too.
I could go later.
So let's do later,
And we're saying the 18th.
18th.
This is all assuming the vote goes a certain way.
That work? Like
I'm
at
completely open on the 18th.
18th? say
Like at
we go
2 p.m., 3 p.m.
I have a meeting from 4 to 5, so I can't.
3 p.m.?
That would
No.
be tight.
4 to
for him.
5.
That'd be
okay.
tight for
so
me.
2 o'clock?
I think 2 hours. You think that's enough?
It would all depend on
how
how
many
many
candidates.
candidates, because if you interview, you do have to interview all candidates. You would not be able to say, 5 submitted, I only want to
Like
interview 3.
1:30
All
right
5
after
would
lunch.
be
1:30?
Right
Correct,
after
yeah.
lunch, yeah.
1:30?
Let's pencil that in. 18th, 1:30,
18th at 1:30.
1:30.
because at least shows it's feasible. I want to make sure we could find a date before we made a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That should give us enough time.
And this date, I mean, if we needed to change that, that's okay. That's not built
Yeah.
in necessarily into the timeline. It's more so just the notices, the date of the notices and notifications to the county that have to be done. But if we get closer to this date and you realize that date doesn't work, we could change that date as long as
Of
we meet
course.
the Brown Act requirements for the agenda posting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good
But you
start.
would still want to have. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I just, in the unlikely event, I'm just thinking of the last appointment that you made. There was one applicant, qualified applicant, I would say, but only one applicant. In the unlikely event that there are no applicants for this appointment, what happens?
You could certainly extend the time periods within that 60 days and extend it out and take a meeting later in the month or up until June.
June
13th.
12th.
Yeah, the
12th.
12th.
So
Okay.
the other possibility is that you have 2 candidates and the board is split on them, which is what happened in my year.
Really?
This is 1998.
Would they split on you?
Yeah, it was me and Corky, and
Oh.
the board, because there's only 4 board members, so it's easy to have a tie.
So what happened?
And so they were deadlocked, so it goes to the county, and the board of supervisors made a decision.
Oh, wow.
And they went
I wonder who
They
they
went with me.
with you.
Yeah, and then she beat me in the election.
No?
Oh, interesting.
And then she redrew the boundary, so I couldn't run against her next time. She's a very smart lady.
Um,
Yeah, I know it well. Yours was a little easier.
Well, I
John.
would say
Oh, you were tough, though. Tough questions.
So we'll have all the people, these candidates will be submitting something in writing probably,
correct.
and we'll have that in advance of the meeting.
Correct.
This is all a public process,
Correct.
and then they would be able to come in and is it like a 3-minute presentation, or how does that work?
It's up to you depending on how many candidates you have, but normally you would give each candidate, 3 minutes to make an introductory statement, and then the board can ask questions. After that, what I request is that the candidate not being interviewed wait in the other room so they don't have the advantage of knowing what the questions are going to be.
Oh yeah,
We can put them in the training room.
And
they
so,
could be watching it on their phone.
yeah, and I mean, I've seen it where the
It's a public
questions are agreed upon in advance. I've seen it where you just ask questions that you may have, but you need to ask the same types of questions to each candidate. You cannot ask a question like, are you in favor of this rate increase or not? I'm not in favor of it. What do you think?
So like an agenda item. you
yeah,
couldn't ask.
right.
Can we confiscate their phones so they can't watch it?
Yeah, because they could be sitting in the other room watching the.
Well, maybe that's an ethical
Yeah.
test
Yeah.
in order to get on the board.
Yeah, can you promise?
We'll have
Did
a
you give
nanny.
up your-
We'll have a nanny in the other room. All right.
What about so when this application goes out, do we already have a template that we used? I imagine is
No,
it a
we-
template?
It's not an application. It's just the notice in 3 public places, and all we ask for is a letter of interest or a resume, something just whatever they want to give us, just so that we can verify.
So there's no.
And I
so
believe
this
the
app-
notice that we do publish is
There's no
in your
qualifications.
backup.
It's in your
I'm looking
packet.
at staff if they
Okay.
can bring that up. It's one of the attachments as part of the backup.
Right. It
But
is.
there's no application.
And the only reason I bring it up is I know, for example, when cities recruit for like planning commissioners, the application has a a number of questions where they try to get some type of insight or background as to the education, the background qualifications that they think they have in order to be able to fulfill the requirements. So there's nothing like that as part of this.
No.
It's just it's
a
very
letter
very
of interest
basic.
Letter of
that
interest,
they live in
resume.
the area and they're registered to vote.
Essentially, anybody's qualified.
Oh, and I think it would behoove them, if they are qualified, to include information in the letter
Yeah.
explaining why they're qualified.
Well, and
Attachment
as
one.
an elected position, the theory is that anybody can run. So, putting a qualification like education or experience on appointing somebody.
Right.
So in this, is there a place where the applicant writes down their address?
Well, the
Yeah, I just
actual
haven't-
notice says you must
Must be verified.
Yeah.
Okay.
submit
So
a letter
yeah,
of
this
interest
is-
or resume.
We
Notice
have
is up
we
on
have the
your screen.
notice up, and so that's the notice that will essentially be posted.
But on that point, I wanted to just, I don't know if this language in the notice of vacancy is statutory.
No.
If there's any, it's not. Because I was in the third paragraph where it says, anyone interested in being appointed is required to submit a letter of interest or a resume. And I'm wondering if we could just eliminate or and have them submit both the letter of interest and they want to attach a resume as well. Because actually, in some ways, the letter of interest is a more powerful statement than a resume.
So don't have the resume.
No,
If
Have
they
the
want, if they want
resume,
to attach a resume,
delete the
that's
word
fine. I'm
or.
just saying
Okay.
a letter of interest for sure.
Well, I don't know that it's is that a requirement? It's not a requirement, right?
Can't
I
they
mean-
make it a requirement?
No. So I mean, someone would say, "I don't have the ability."
It
To.
says required.
Well, what if we said anyone interested in being appointed is requested to submit a letter of interest and a resume?
okay.
That way,
That's
because it's
good.
not really a
Yeah,
requirement,
yeah.
right?
That's
Nice.
Right?
Okay, but we just need something in writing that they verify that they live in the district and are registered to vote. So, okay.
Yeah.
If we get something from them and they have no information on it, then the board clerk can
We'll
call and say,
contact
"We
them.
need this information."
Sylvia, can you validate that information with the registrar?
Yes, it would be
So you'd have a
similar.
name
It
and
would
an
be
address?
similar to when candidates come in and pull paperwork. That's part of the process that we verify that they are a registered voter and that they do reside within the division
So,
of the
so
district.
you can
that
get the
they're-
name and address from the registrar.
I would verify it. Yes.
Verify.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's helpful. Okay.
So again, it's going to say anyone interested in being appointed is requested to submit a letter of interest and a resume, or keep the and or.
Well, yeah, because it has two and/ors. You go to the next sentence. I would get rid of the or. I agree
Okay.
with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Now that it's a request,
Okay.
letters of interest and resumes must be delivered to the following address.
Okay.
Do we put in here when the board will interview?
No, because if that changes, then we don't want to have that set in stone
Correct.
in the notice. That's why we say at the bottom that
Yeah,
the board
yeah,
will
yeah.
possibly
Okay.
make the
Yeah.
decision and may elect to schedule the additional meetings if necessary.
Yeah.
Well, since we're tunneling really deep on this,
Yeah.
what happens if a candidate, a potential board member, cannot be available on the day that the board elects to interview all
That's a
candidates?
fair
No,
question.
so no show, like an interview.
Yeah.
It's a no-show.
I mean,
That's
Ca-
not unreasonable to request that they be here on the day of the.
Well,
of the
I mean,
interview.
all right. So, is it possible to put May 8 or May? Gosh, it's already May.
18.
May 18th at 1:30 in Palm Desert on this, so that there's no
We-
confusion.
We could, but I think as Jeff mentioned, if it would limit our ability to change that date, so you would have to 100% commit to being available, and we would not be able
Well,
to.
I mean,
Right?
if we put the 18th in there and something happens, we have to change it. I guess we would wait till after the deadline to submit the letters of interest, and then we would contact them directly and say, by the way, this meeting's been changed to X date. And we go through the Brown Act part. So we could do that.
I just worry that if someone applied with the intent of being interviewed on the 18th, and now we move it to the 21st, and they're no
Exactly.
longer available on
Right.
the 21st,
Okay, I
they're
get
going to
it.
say,
Yeah.
you said the
point.
18th.
So we'll just
point.
let them know. We'll let them know after
point.
after the cutoff date.
Yep.
After the 6th.
Okay, so back to the question, if they cannot make the date of the interview, are they disqualified?
They would
Yes.
be a
I think
no-show.
that's at
Okay.
the discretion of the board.
That's
Because
is the
we do talk
discretion.
about having potentially follow-up meetings. So
Yeah.
if we decide that
Well, the other thing would be,
That's-
let's just
that-
say you
We
get
have-
10
we need another
candidates.
meeting, we'll have another meeting.
You'd have
Okay,
to hold
just wanna
2
make sure.
meetings to
And,
interview
and
all
we
10
would
candidates.
I mean their name would be on the list,
Right.
and we would make a determination based on all the all
Okay.
of the above.
Yeah, I think that leaves it flexible enough.
Just trying to drill down.
Yeah, it's a good
So
question.
I think today, just for clarification, what we're looking for is to have the board
All right,
provide
so-
direction on appointment
there-
versus election.
All right, is there a motion to go one direction or another? You can be specific in your motion what you want to do.
I make a motion that we move to appoint someone to fill the vacancy, and that we give a notice of this by tomorrow.
Right. I'll second. Fair enough. I think we covered all the bases, right? Any other discussion? All in favor? Is this a regular vote?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I can see all the lips moving. That was 4-0.
Okay. None opposed? Okay.
And we have no further business, and with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.